pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Trophy Chase, Arizona.
with the second pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select
Cody Smith, Houston, Texas. The fantasy draft room is now on the clock.
Welcome to the Fantasy Draft Room. I am Chase, and with me, as always, my man Cody. We got another Shane P. Hallam mock ready to roll.
Yes, we do. We got another 7-round NFL mock, and all that can mean for us is that we have to go through that mock, use it for our rookie mocks, and we're going to go back and forth on this one, mono, just us two, and see how this board shakes out.
Love it, man. Well, with the first pick, I think I went last time, so I'm going to let you go first this time. So you get the first pick at the 101. Looking at this board here, who are you taking 101 after this combine?
Yeah, I mean, it was a hell of a weekend. The quarterbacks definitely showed out. Anthony Richardson, most of all. I mean, there's been a lot of talk around the Twitter sphere, around the fantasy football landscape that, hey, there's a legitimate shot for Anthony Richardson to actually go into conversations for the 101. We've seen it in some of the mocks that have gone down over at Destination Devy with Dynasty Barry running those. I think we might actually be breaking one of those down here as a little bit of a sneak peek where we might actually see Anthony Richardson at the 101, or will it be Bijan Robinson? We'll wait to find out. But let's go through a couple of these picks here that would be worthy of bringing up at the potential 101 for this draft. It's Bijan Robinson with the highest I think I have ever seen him in a mock draft, NFL mock draft. Bijan Robinson, number 6 overall, going to the Detroit Lions. That is absolute gold in my opinion, even though people are going to say DeAndre Swift is there. I think they're done by everything I've heard. I'd out on DeAndre Swift, but then we got to go to the quarterbacks as well. Could it possibly be CJ Stroud, number 2 overall to the Texans, A-Rich 4 overall to the Colts, Bryce Young 9 overall to the Panthers, or an interesting one that I don't think I've seen before, Will Levis going number 19 overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't think I'm going to be going there. I think there's really only 2 guys in consideration here, both top 6 picks, not top 2. We got Bijan Robinson, 6 overall to Detroit, Anthony Richardson, 4 overall to the Colts. And because it is the highest I have ever seen Bijan Robinson, I can't pass up on that. I am going to go with Bijan Robinson still here, even after the combine that Anthony Richardson put up this weekend. Still, Bijan Robinson is my 101 if this were to happen this way in the NFL draft.
Yeah, Bijan drops into the Detroit Lions. That would signify that the Swift era is coming to a close. You can say that he's the pass catching back there. You can convince yourself of whatever you want. If they spend a top 10 draft pick on a running back, it's over. It's over. So yeah, love it. Don't blame you at all. So here at the 2, we get back to the quarterback room. There's really no one else in consideration for me here at the 2 slot other than CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. And, I have a tough time with this one because I really like CJ Stroud. I would actually prefer CJ Stroud in Houston over Bryce Young. So I really do like the landing spot for Stroud. I just don't know if I can do it. They do take JSN as well. So they keep the college teammates together. And that's so enticing. But man, I'm going to be a prisoner of the moment here. And I'm going to take Anthony Richardson going 4 overall to the Indianapolis Colts. And not only do they already have a really good run game in place with JT, they're going to have Pittman. You have your second round pick at Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods, up and coming tight end. I just think that would be a really, really good landing spot for his skill set. So, and after that 10 RAS score, everything that he showed out at the combine, give me some A-Rich.
Yeah, man. After what he put, full 10 RAS score, most athletic tight end that we have ever seen come into the combine, more athletic than Cam Newton, about the same size and everything else, but running, what was it, about a 1/10 of a second faster, more than a 1/10, I think, almost 2/10.
Almost 0.2, yeah.
Ran about the same 40 time as Jalen Hyatt, except for the fact that he's like 6'4" and 244. I mean, just an absolute unit, but he's playing quarterback. And for fantasy superflex, man, I don't know how you could really be doing anything different at this point. And if you want the standard safe floor, I think those are still there, going to be with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, which is probably where I'm going next year. But man, the upside shot with Anthony Richardson with that rushing profile, can't deny it that he's in strong consideration to be the top quarterback off the board and potentially even the 101. But you got me going between those two, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, either my Texans or the Carolina Panthers here at the 3rd overall pick. Man, I do like the Panther situation a little bit more, especially with Frank Reich being there, but I am going to go with who I think is more polished, maybe the more pro style ready. I mean, both of them are incredibly good. Bryce Young can make throws all over the field. Did weigh in over 200 pounds, probably not right now. But he got his guy in Jackson Smith-Njigba, and I'm going to go with CJ Stroud here at the 103.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Like I said, it was the debate for me as well at 2, whether I want to go with CJ Stroud or with Anthony Richardson. So I will absolutely take that. And you know what? You can just kind of look at the quarterback run that we're about to go on. And this is an interesting one because I do like Will Levis, and him going to Tampa would probably signify good things for him starting early, has weapons. The issue is it's kind of feels like a team with no direction, and you have offensive line issues, which he experienced very much so his last year at Kentucky. So I just don't know that I can take Will Levis here as much as I do enjoy the landing spot for him. I will take Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers, give DJ Moore a quarterback, finally, accurate guy that's just going to be able to deliver the ball to him. I think it would be good for fantasy. It's really a safe bet is really what I'm looking at here. So I don't have the same upside as a Will Levis, but I know what I'm going to be getting out of Bryce Young.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. Like Bryce Young, the talent, obviously the size concerns are there, but coming in with a guaranteed receiver like DJ Moore, you got the coach like I had mentioned and Frank Reich. I think both of these positions are going to be really good for both CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. They would be my 2 and 3 neck and neck. I would not care whichever pick that I got. If I could trade back, if somebody really wants to come up and get my CJ Stroud or Bryce Young at the 102 or the 103, I'd definitely be willing to take anything on top and probably just go get the other one and be perfectly fine with it, as long as I'm not like missing out on a stack or something that could swing me one way or the other. Neck and neck for me on those two guys. But now you put me in the position at the 104 where I've got probably the most contentious decision in all of fantasy football right now, and that is what is Will Levis, especially because he's falling all the way almost to the 20th overall pick here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Do you take the process play with the quarterback and just say, hey, it is super flex, I'm taking the most advantageous position in the game? Or do I take most people's favorites as the RB2 and Jahmyr Gibbs, solidify that over this weekend, or the wide receiver 1 in Jackson Smith-Njigba? I don't care. It's super flex. I'm taking Will Levis, and I'm probably going to catch some heat for it on that one. But you give me that quarterback, and I will be able to use that quarterback at some time to get something better, in my opinion, if he does anything on the field than the players I could get there at the positional spots.
Yeah, the upside is there. Like same thing with A-Rich. Like they both have the rushing upside where they are not a zero on the ground. So they're definitely going to be, both of those two are like, I guess I don't want to call them Konami codes because I don't see Will Levis necessarily rushing for 1,000 yards, but he's going to be a 300 to 500 yard guy, kind of like Dak was early in his career. You could definitely see that kind of thing. And he's mobile. So he can get out of the pocket. He can make all the throws. Like you saw his arm on display at the combine and the ball just jumps. And so if you start off with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as your receivers, I'm all for it. And I'm really glad that you did take him because I'm actually going to take the stack from you. I don't want you getting CJ Stroud and JSN on the same
It's
team.
not even my team.
I know, but still.
Team 6s.
But I'm taking JSN here because he is paired up with his college quarterback. Like that's huge. Like you have the chemistry already in place. We've seen it with Burrow and Chase. Not saying that those two are Burrow and Chase, but they have that connection already. So there's something to that. And there's no other receiver there. And I know that's not the excuse we want to say. There's who else are you going to throw the ball to? But they're spending the 12th overall pick on him. First wide receiver off the board. He's absolutely going to get the ball. And I think that would be a situation where I'm going to eat up some JSN in that 5-6 range.
Yeah, 6. It's going to be 6-7 for me. 6-7. I think these two go back and forth. Yeah, I'm still going to be the guy as long as they're getting top 20 draft capital. I know Will Levis was right on the edge of that, but as long as they're getting that type of draft capital, I'm going to be putting them 102 through 105, barring them saying that they're not going to be the starter, or a position where they're probably not going to be the starter. Will Levis will start over Kyle Trask. I can guarantee you that. So I don't have any worries about taking him there. But then, yeah, you're right. I think there's only two guys that you can really have in consideration here at the 106, and then I'll take the other one at the 107 in Jahmyr Gibbs. Did what he needed to do at the combine, ran sub 4.4. Locked himself into the RB2 overall. I still have my concerns. I still have love for another guy, but he has to move out of the way because Jahmyr Gibbs, I can't deny, is a better prospect at this point. So I'll be taking Jahmyr Gibbs here at the 107.
Yeah, I like it. I know you talked to earlier today about the JJ Zacharyson and which podcast was he on?
Late round.
Late round. There we go.
Pod. But yeah, running backs under 210 pounds.
Scary.
Under 210 pounds who are top 50 picks. There's basically CMC and a list of guys you don't want, like CEH, Ronald Jones, Darrington Evans. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I can't imagine that Darrington Evans is actually in that list. For some reason, that's the name that keeps coming in my mind, but he was not a top 50 overall pick. So a bunch of other guys, just know they're not all. There's hardly any of them that are actually very good other than CMC. That's what we're hoping for. That's the upside of Jahmyr Gibbs right now. I know a lot of people have the Alvin Kamara comps, but in terms of just like profile overall, in terms of the draft capital we're assuming, the weight, height, everything like that, CMC's your upside shot.
He's 15 pounds lighter than Alvin Kamara. Like that's the big thing. Like I get like usage wise, like you're like, oh yeah, they could use him like that, but he is 15 pounds lighter. So yeah, we'll see. I really like Jahmyr Gibbs at Arizona. Like that is a primo landing spot. Like I really do like that. And I think with that coming off the board, I'm going to take your guy. I'm taking Zach Charbonnet, and it is because he's right on that borderline of the top 50 draft pick, right? Like he's 51, and he went to the Miami Dolphins, so he is going to a situation where theoretically he should start right away. Whether you want to call it a bell cow role, they have already talked about bringing back Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, but Zach Charbonnet would be the lead back in that situation. And man, that offense would be so much fun with them finally having a running back.
Oh yeah, a running back that could take on all three downs. I mean, I know even if they do bring those two back, I think Zach Charbonnet is still like 10 years younger than both of those guys combined, more than something like that. Those guys are like 30. Zach Charbonnet is going to come in there, command the workload from day one. If they're putting out Zach Charbonnet for anything less than 20 touches in that offense, if they bring those two back and don't add anything else, I think they're doing it massively wrong. And you take my guy again, so I can't draft him again. I wish we had switched spots here. I should have the even picks.
This is why I made you go first.
You were counting them out ahead of me. I wasn't that far down into it. All right, but we're going back here. Quarterbacks are not coming off the board here. You've got Devon Achane is probably your next running back off the board here, going in the second round still as well to the Dallas Cowboys. This is where we do have to probably start declaring what tight end premium we're going to be playing for this one.
We're going to roll with 175 always, just to make tight ends have some sort of relevance.
All right, we'll keep them there. And we've got a lot of, Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, standout tight end from the combine this weekend, going to the Packers, Commanders, and Bengals, respectively. 3 first-round tight ends, and all of them very, very good landing spots and good tight ends as well. But I don't think I can go there yet. I'm going to go with my wide receiver 2. The wide receiver 2 off the board. I'm going to still go with Quentin Johnston to the Baltimore Ravens. I know the situation looks bleak. I know that Lamar Jackson might not be there, but honestly, I could see that being a benefit for Quentin Johnston if Lamar's not there, because they're going to have to change the offense, change the way they run. We'll see what happens with the Lamar situation. Not going to speculate on that one here. We've got plenty of time for that later on future podcasts. But Quentin Johnston with the draft capital to the Baltimore Ravens is going to be my guy, because I like the prospect more than the other guys. The landing spot's not enough for me to take me off of Quentin Johnston yet.
Yeah, I don't blame you here. You start looking at the talent and the guys that you kind of draw those tiers on. And Quentin Johnston is a super talented guy. He did nothing at the combine that would make you discouraged from him at this point. And if he does end up getting first round draft capital, it is the Ravens, but they don't have a true number one. Yes, they have Rashad Bateman, and I guess the true number one would be Mark Andrews. But I think all of that is beneficial to have other pieces around QJ where he doesn't have to come in year one and like have these uber high expectations right off the jump. So it gives him that opportunity to kind of get eased in. So I do like that pick there. This is really where I have a tough time. I'm looking at tight end. Dalton Kincaid, 15th overall. You got Mayer, 16th. And then I look over back at running back in the last second round running back in Devon Achane going to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm actually going to do something a little surprising here. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers to the New York Giants. I know Jordan Addison went first round to the Buffalo Bills, and that is a prime spot, but I really, really like Zay Flowers. Love the talent. He did everything you needed to see out of him at the combine. Same thing. There really weren't a lot of disappointments, but him being the number one or being brought in to be the number one, I would love that for Zay Flowers. People in the NFL circles have talked about him being comped as Antonio Brown in his early years. So yeah, it's a huge gamble because I do like Addison. I do like that Buffalo Bills landing spot, but I think I'm going to go with Zay Flowers to the Giants.
Yeah, between these two, it's gonna be a difficult decision if this is actually what happens. The New York Giants landing spot is devoid of talent right now, and the Buffalo Bills is obviously the high-powered offense with Josh Allen. So which one do you want? They're both first-round wide receivers. Jordan Addison did slip a little bit in the combine this weekend, which is probably leans a little bit into that as well, possibly. But I think both of these guys you could go back and forth on right now. I could go back and forth on them as well, and it's why I'm going to go back and forth with you, taking Jordan Addison, the next one off the board here at the back end of the first.
I took all your other guys, so I figured I'd leave you one that was that made life a little easy for you here. But no,
hey, I don't need that baby, and stop it. Come on, take the guy you want.
I mean, Jordan Addison, if they use him in a Cole Beasley-esque role as a slot, keep Gabe Davis outside. They do need another target that can draw some pressure away from Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis has clearly shown he's not that. He's a good player. He's a very good deep threat, has good hands, but as an overall receiver, he's just not there. And I think Addison would be a great addition for them. Now, I am going to be sitting here at the 112, and I still see Devon Achane going to the Cowboys, but I'm going to go with my tight end one at this moment in time, and I'm going to take Michael Mayer to the Commanders with that offense. Just the way that what I have in my mind is this mental picture of Eric Bieniemy and Michael Mayer, and they're just revisiting their time in his time in Kansas City with Travis Kelce. And I would love it. Like if they're going to feed Mayer, similar kind of play style where it's not like, he's athletic, but he's not like super fast to blow the doors off. I think that would be perfect, man. I just would love that landing spot for Michael Mayer.
Yeah, as soon as you start putting Eric Bieniemy with any tight end here in this first round, and Michael Mayer, who comps pretty well with the way he just like runs routes, gets open, catches. I'd be just an integral part of that offense at Notre Dame. Travis Kelce isn't the most athletic guy, but they just scheme him open. You see the correlation. You see the painting coming. It's starting to get there as soon as you put Michael Mayer to the Commanders. And yeah, that good pick, but there are two other tight ends that could easily be just as good there. I don't know if I'm going to go there yet because I do have Devon Achane still on the board here, the only second round guy I really have mentioned left at the running back position. So it's definitely there between Devon Achane and the tight ends for me. Let's see. If I was actually team one here, I already got Bijan. Would that sway me at all from going off of another running back to back?
Fair.
Obviously, you need a lot more information if you were actually going to say I was, drafting this team with an actual full roster already built out. I need so much more information to really do that. I'm going to do it though. I'm going to say that tight ends, even though I love this class, I'm going to go with the guy that I think is going to be on the field from day one, especially with the injury to Tony Pollard. We'll see what happens with Zeke there, but I'm going to be taking Devon Achane off the board at the 2-1.
Yeah, electric player. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He did nothing. He didn't run the 4.2 that everyone had hoped, but at the same time, he wasn't exactly slow. So yeah, love Devon Achane. Really hope for a good role for him, but with Pollard tagged there, maybe there's some iffy year one usage. Now I'm sitting here at the 202. You got all the second round running backs off the board. We still have some tight ends out here. Jalen Hyatt landing in Tennessee doesn't exactly excite me. And then you have Josh Downs to the Patriots. So I'm kind of like looking away, said Tillman to the Chargers, looking away from the wide receiver position at this point for me. I have two guys I really want. I think I'm going to leave one here and just take my running back that I love and Kendre Miller. I know he's a third-round running back here. He went 64 overall, so it's still early third. But he went to the Chicago Bears, where his only competition right now is Khalil Herbert and Treston Ebner.
They just signed Kari Blasingame to a 2-year deal.
This guy tells me he has some big-time free agent news that just came out, and I'm like, oh, cool, what happened? And he's like, oh, yeah, Blasingame just re-signed for 2 years. I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here. But yeah, no, I feel like it'd be a great opportunity for Kendre to take over day one, get the usage. He is my running back 4 right now, I believe, and in that same tier with Charbonnet. So I have zero issue with it, and he may even jump up a little bit. I just love Kendre Miller.
Love Kendre Miller, and I guess Shane's got some conviction on Kendre as well. Maybe he's heard some rumblings from the NFL side of things too, that maybe the NFL just isn't concerned with some of the concerns about the injury to Kendre and his testing numbers. Well, I don't know if we'll ever truthfully know what Kendre is going to test, because he's not going to test his pro day either. But this is a lot of risk for the Chicago Bears to be all the way up here, 5th running back off the board, taking Kendre, and so. I love Kendre, but 1.75, I got to go with my first-round tight ends, and now it's just a matter of who. And I feel like he's been disrespected on this show for far too long. We're going to go with Darnell Washington, the wonder boy of the combine, one of the most not equivalent to how freakish Anthony Richardson was at the quarterback position, but still top 2% athlete at the tight end position was Darnell Washington. There with Joe Burrow, I mean, they haven't really had a tight end that's been a predominant part of that offense ever. And so I'm going to be incredibly excited. I would be incredibly excited to see what Joe Burrow would be able to do with a talent like Darnell Washington.
Yeah, I mean, the concern is obviously he can block too well, I guess, because he is, when you see him pushing around the sled, he's pushing it around better than any other tight end. It looks like he's a freaking tackle out there, shoving around those blocking sleds. But he is, I mean, he's a freak athlete. I mean, I believe his RAS score, he had a 9.85 RAS combined at the end of it. I think he had the biggest hands. He had one of the fastest 40s, or he had a 4.6 40. Like, at his size, it's unreal what he did. So I do not blame you here for taking Washington, and he has received a little bit too much hate on this show. You're absolutely right. He has moved up our boards clearly, and you leave me with a tough choice here, because I'm looking at Dalton Kincaid going to the Green Bay Packers in the first round. But man, I love the fact that Luke Musgrave went to the Carolina Panthers with only DJ Moore as like the other target. I already took the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young. We have him out there too. I'm going to just roll with it. Team. Yeah, I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with Musgrave here with the 175 premium. These tight ends are good. Like, that's like the biggest thing we learned from the combine was like how incredibly good and deep this tight end class is. You're now seeing why people have been saying there's going to be 8 second round or 2 round 2 tight ends. And we have 3 in the first here in this mock, and I think 2 in the second. So 5 total there, but couldn't pass that up.
Yeah, that stack is definitely something to like. If you were able to actually get that in a true draft, would definitely be hard to pass up. I think I'd still lean Kincaid here, and so you put me back into the spin cycle of could I actually see 3 tight ends going off the board back to back to back? I think I'm just going to stick with pure process play, and like I was debating whether I wanted Darnell Washington or Dalton Kincaid there at my last pick there at the 2-2. So I'm not going to deviate from that just because that's how the board's going to play out. I'm just going to go back to it. We're going to have 3 tight ends right off the board back to back to back. Dalton Kincaid to the Green Bay Packers, starting off the top of this second round with 2 running backs, 3 tight ends in a row. Dalton Kincaid didn't get to see him test at the combine this weekend, but everybody says he could easily be the best pass catcher out of anybody in this tight end class, and getting him here at the tight end 4. I'm going to do it whenever the opportunity presents itself. So if this one was playing out this way, could not pass up on Kincaid, first overall tight end as well.
Right. And that's the tough part. You know, the reason why I kind of held off on him was just simply because the back injury. He should be healthy, everything should be good to go. No long-term concerns, it sounds like, at least at this point that it's come out. And he is projected to be the best pass catching tight end in this class. He's definitely not the blocker that Mayer or Washington is. He's definitely more in that Luke Musgrave mold as far as being a move tight end. So I think Dalton Kincaid there is a real good spot in a 175. Green Bay Packers, they're going to be losing Tanyan. I think even DeGuara is a free agent as well. So they need tight end help. Great pick by you. And you leave me looking at this board here, and we've been away from the wide receivers for quite a bit. You have Jalen Hyatt there at Tennessee. Just feels gross, man. I have such a hard time with him. Josh Downs to the Patriots, Ced Tillman again to the Chargers. We do have Tyler Scott to the Kansas City Chiefs. He did not test all that well at the combine, so I'm not really sure why he
feels a little high for me. Yeah,
feels a little Tutu Atwell is what it feels like. So I'm gonna skip out, and I just keep looking at Hyatt and Downs, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can pass that up. I'm gonna go with Josh Downs to the New England Patriots. They don't have a true number one there. I'm not saying that he's going to come in and be a one. I don't profile Josh Downs as a true number one in the NFL, but he's a guy that's going to be taking targets, potential Jacoby Myers replacement. I do like him. He's a little too small. He's a little small for my liking, but everything I've seen on tape, everything you watch him do in drills, really impressive player. And to be getting him here in the mid second, I'm all for it.
Yep, that definitely would have been my pick. I was really hoping that the New England Patriots, kind of tainted image could maybe get Josh Downs back to me there. But I do think you're right in probably highlighting those two wide receivers, and you're going to leave me with the other one, Jalen Hyatt going to Tennessee. No, the situation right now doesn't look that great, but could easily see everything being rolled over on that offense here within the next year. It seems like that team is on thin ice, everybody there, including Vrabel, which I love Vrabel as a coach, but the offense is unimaginative. The contracts are expiring. We'll see. I mean, they've already put out, there's been some rumors of Derrick Henry being potentially shopped here and before this season even starts. So we could see the offense completely shake up before the 2023 season even happens. So Jalen Hyatt, I think the talent's too good for him to be falling past the 2.7. I know the situation doesn't look great as of now, but I'll be able to look past that and just take what I believe is the best wide receiver still on the board.
Yep, I don't blame you there at all at this point. Again, it comes out of talent, talented player, just an unfortunate situation. You hope he can kind of work through it, or that the situation changes in the future here. So I'm looking now. We are in the latter half of the second. We still have Tajay Spears going in the third to the Houston Texans, Tucker in the third to Minnesota, Roschon in the third as well to the Carolina Panthers, Zach Evans to the Eagles at the back of the third. Looking at tight end, there's still Sam Laporta to the Giants, and my goodness, it's like I feel crazy putting all these tight ends up here, but Sam Laporta is another combine darling that really kind of showed his stuff. Let the world know how good he really was. And Iowa Mike over at South Harmon, you've seen him on 4D, the shit show. He's been trying to tell us, he's like, Sam Laporta, Iowa tight end. Check him out. He's going to run in the 4.5s. Like he's going to surprise some people, and he is jumping up board. So he came off here in the second round. It's between him and the guy I'm going to take. And it's some people's RB3. Scary to say. I'm actually going to take Zach Evans to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's purely landing spot. They don't have anybody else in the backfield there, really. I mean, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders is gone. I'm projecting at this point that they're probably not going to bring him back. They might bring in someone else, but I'll take Zach Evans with the opportunity there in Philly and with that offense. I mean, tough one to pass for me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you could have taken him about a round later from me. There's no way he would have been coming off. No way he was coming off the board. I don't care that Miles Sanders is gone. I think Kenneth Gainwell is much better than Zach Evans currently is. I mean, I think he'd be splitting work with Boston Scott. Yeah, that's
Wow.
I absolutely do not like Zach Evans. Anything about him. He came in undersized, didn't
Yes, he
even
did.
didn't even run. Like that's supposed to be your thing, is you're supposed to be big and fast, and you weighed in less than we thought you would, and you didn't run.
He was
Like
205, man.
no.
Yeah.
Zach Evans is almost off my board. He is off my board until I hit the third round, unless, I mean, he did go in the third round here. Absolutely. I still have to respect that there is a little bit of draft capital behind him, but I don't try to get too into just full player takes and just full player bias, but that's going to be one I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I'm not going to be able to pass up.
Just gonna pass on him.
Almost off my board is Zach Evans. So could have taken him a lot later, but if I'm putting my bias aside, the landing spot's good. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if he can actually translate his game that wasn't even good at college to the NFL and be better there. But you're going to leave me with the running back that I would definitely be having over Zach Evans, and that is Tyjae Spears to the Houston Texans. The running back, I mean, he's a damn good running back. He could easily be in kind of an Elijah Mitchell CMC role that we saw last year in the San Francisco 49ers offense. I think he could be kind of the speed back there with Dameon Pierce as well. And so Tyjae Spears is going to be my pick here at the 208, I believe, is where we're currently sitting.
Little lightning and thunder there in Houston if Tyjae Spears is in that backfield. So yeah, but with the violence that that Pierce runs with, you know, it's always good to have additional talented running backs as well. Tyjae was another that has another player who has stepped up really in the Senior Bowl and then at the combine as well. He didn't run a 40, but you got to see enough out of him to see that he fits in, no doubt about it. And so love the pick. I was looking at him and Evans and regret my decision greatly right now. So going back to the board here again, back half of this second round, for me, it's pretty easy. I'm going to be taking Sam Laporta. I'm going to be taking Sam Laporta to the New York Giants. I know they have Daniel Bellinger there, but I really like what Sam Laporta did in that Iowa offense. That was an anemic offense at Iowa. It was not good. And he made himself relevant. He was out there dominating corners and safeties. He was able to play out wide. He was basically a wide receiver for Iowa in his last season. So, you know what? Send me to New York, and I'll take Laporta.
Yeah, I definitely like Laporta there. I mean, we'll see what the type of split would be between Bellinger and Laporta. But Laporta is definitely the better prospect coming out of Iowa here with second round draft capital. Definitely the better prospect. We did see Bellinger ball out, but I mean, we don't see the New York Giants on this wide receiver board anywhere.
They did take.
Oh no, they did take Flowers. They did take Flowers in the first. Okay, so they did take a first round guy, but they still need a wide receiver too. I mean, I guess they have Isaiah Hodgins. I know some people are hyped about him. Wandale as well coming back. Yeah, but I think I think Laporta would be definitely a piece of this offense in the receiving game from day one.
Agreed.
All right, so you're leaving me here. Oh God. Yeah,
gross, man.
We're getting to that point where it starts getting gross. I mean, I'm looking at Cedric Tillman of the Chargers. Looks like it could be a good spot, but Keenan Allen looks like he's also staying. So I mean, he's fighting for wide receiver 3 with Josh Palmer. Got a couple of the running backs here. Bigsby I like, Roschon I like, Tucker. We'll kind of see what happens there. Still got tight ends as well. Tucker Kraft. I just don't like the Miami situation. We saw what they were doing with Mike Gesicki there. Just absolutely nothing. So don't have too much hope there. I think I'm going to go back to the running back position, and I'm going to go with Roschon Johnson here to the Carolina Panthers, coming off in the third round, 93rd overall. I know they've been saying that they're going to bring Deonta Foreman back, but if they don't, I think Roschon could be a very easy fill, plug and play guy for them there in the middle of the third round.
Yeah, he's an incredible pass blocker, so he will be on the field for that for sure. I just don't know what he's going to be in fantasy. That's kind of the struggle that I have with Roschon. But hey, open backfield, right? You got Chuba Hubbard right now, and then again, supposedly they'll re-sign Foreman. Whether they do or don't, that will kind of vary. We'll see. In this situation, most likely they're not. So you leave me with Sean Tucker there at the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't know if I really want the backup running back in Minnesota. Doesn't feel all that great. You mentioned Tillman going to the Chargers. then you look in the 3rd round wide receivers. Rashee Rice does go to Green Bay.
Still got Tyler
Mims to
Scott there in the
Tampa.
2nd to the Chiefs. I mean, he's got the Mahomes
he's
connection.
He's not getting drafted by me. He's
Yeah,
not
I
getting
don't think
drafted
so
by me.
either.
I mean, again, the Mahomes part will make him drafted, but yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be waiting on that one. Tight end's done, but I am gonna go with I'm taking those deep dives into the running back room. I'm actually gonna take Tank Bigsby here, going to the Denver Broncos here in the 4th round. You have Javonte Williams, who's going to be out for perceivably the early part of the season. He tore his entire knee up, and that's usually not a good sign for fantasy production or even coming back. We saw what J.K. Dobbins did this past season. He actually had to go in for a cleanup surgery. Again, looked good at the end of the year, but that gives Tank Bigsby time to carve out a role, get some touches, get some experience in the NFL, and potentially carve a solid role out for himself by the time Javonte is ready to roll.
Yes, sir. That's going to wrap us out of our first 2 rounds here. We do have some more on the board. This is kind of where we talked about this beforehand. Do we want to stop it here? Do we want to just keep it rolling? We can drop the 3rd and 4th rounds later on this weekend, see if we can come back to this one if you want to do it that way. And we can give the 3rd and 4th rounds to the people in a different video that'll come out after this one a couple days or maybe over the weekend.
That sounds good to me. Let's roll out.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, so that is the first 2 rounds here of the Shane P. Hallam mock draft. Again, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. Let us know how crazy some of these picks are and all these tight ends coming off the board, or where you have A-Rich now as well. And thank you for joining us here in the Fantasy Draft Room.